So if I'm gonna call myself an investor, and if anybody wanna call themselves an investor, trader, whatever, if you're gonna be involved in financial markets, you need to first know how to gauge the market, like the overall market. So two really good tools or instruments that I use that many other trader or an investor will use to gauge the market is the index funds. Now, QQQ is one of them, and then SPY is the other. These are like the two main index funds that I watch to kind of just see what the overall market is doing. So now the reasons why is because the S&P 500, clearly stated in the name, is a collection of America's best 500 companies. Now, Invesco QQQ is something very similar, but except for it's mainly tech focused. So pretty much you can kind of gauge or watch the behavior of the financial markets, just based off how these two instruments are performing. If they real strong and bullish, then you can kind of already know, like, okay, the majority of the stock market is bullish, right? If you see like a bunch of the tech stocks falling, then like for example like Amazon, Apple, Meta, Nvidia, if you see these stocks dropping, falling really hard, really bearish, then 9 times out of 10 you will see QQQ, retracting or pulling back, right? So with that being said, my last video I talked about how it might be the bottom, but nobody talking about it. So the reason why I say that is because throughout history, we always see that pullbacks in the market or crashes or, you know, horrible, quote unquote, horrible economic news will cause the market to drop, but then we always bounce back from off of a demand zone. So here we got a weekly demand zone that formed a long time ago. And then when I was calling the bottom, we was here. I was only feeling that confident because there's a huge price imbalance there. And, assuming that we already know what a price imbalance is, let's talk about how when I mentioned my portfolio will be doing good, it is because let's look at these weekly candlesticks. So we got Meta bouncing from out this weekly zone. Apple bounced cleanly off this monthly zone. Let me go to the monthly and show y'all. Right, so clear monthly right there. This is very good, right? Being that we towards the end of the month, right? This is a pin bar. We already know what happens with pin bars. These are like the best high profitable reversal candlesticks right here. This 1 month candlestick right there, right? Hood bounced clean out of a demand zone, weekly demand zone. So remember I talked about the engulfing pattern, right? So as you can see here, another week where we're engulfing the previous candlestick. So this is good. This is called buying the dip. See what I'm saying? This was the dip, and now we got another bullish engulfing pattern. So as an investor, and then also if you know how to find and analyze price imbalances, then you know that this is a rally-based rally. You see what I'm saying? Let's look at Walmart. Bounce clean. Like, it's no coincidence that the price bounced right from out of this green box that I draw. You see what I'm saying? This is a price imbalance. So you're going to have people who look at these same charts that I'm looking at, and they're going to say, the markets are rigged. We don't know what's going to happen because Trump might say anything. It's not about that, bro. If you really understand in supply and demand, which is what affects, which is the invisible force that affects all prices, all price movement, then you will know that all you got to do is find the price imbalances or the supply and demand imbalances on these charts. And the probabilities of being in your favor. I'm not saying you're just going to be right, but the probabilities of being in your favor, though. So you see, after we got this right here, this rally-based rally on Walmart, we just continued up, right? So that if we look at the weekly time frame, what's going on? Look at that engulfing pattern. That was clean. And we got continuation. So another thing when looking at charts is you got to consider the time and date. So it's Friday, which means that these candlesticks that we see on the weekly time frame are going to close. Now that can give us a lot of information, because remember, these candlesticks give us a lot of information. So back on Robinhood, remember I just mentioned that this is another bullish engulfing. So what we can expect is some kind of continuation. I'm gonna look at Google, right? If this closes at 4 o'clock today, engulfing that previous candle, then we know we can see some kind of continuation, which is good. That's why I'm so convicted that this is the bottom. Like, this was the bottom that we were given to buy. Even if you look at Bitcoin, right? Look at it's about to recover and head back towards its all-time high. See, nobody gonna ever just flat out mention the bottom to you. You gotta just, it's almost like if you know, you know. You feel what I'm saying? But the biggest people, the whales, they not letting you know. The sharks, they not letting you know, oh yeah, this is the bottom. Buy. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna just keep projecting fear, keep throwing the propaganda, the news, the financial, fears and stuff like that. While the whole time the bottom was being put in at the beginning of the month, April 7th. You see what I'm saying? We can even go to the specific date, and this is on Bitcoin. Yeah, about April 7th. That was the bottom. But if you were so busy caught up in the news, then you would have missed April 7th. Look, April 7th was the bottomest point of that recent pullback that we got. And also another thing, why I'm confident in that was the bottom. Because what we have done is we've shown that we've sustained the bullish trend by putting in a higher bottom or a higher low. So if you notice here, let me zoom in real quick. So if you notice here, right, boom, we came down, we hit the demand imbalance, right? We put in a bottom, April 7th, like you hollering about. Then we bounced out of the zone because those unfilled buying orders got filled. And then we pulled back. So people like, oh, that wasn't the bottom. That was just a regular retracement or whatever like that. But then guess what? We ended up coming back up for a higher high. You see, this high right here is higher than that high right there. But at the very same time, this low is higher than this low. So a higher low got put in and a higher high got put in. This is symbolization of a bullish trend being put in. And so that's why I'm so convicted on, hey, this was the bottom for this crash. Now remember, when we set new all-time highs and stuff like that, and my account up whatever percentage it is, it's because we bought the bottom. And you might not even catch the full bottom, because I'm gonna be 100% with y'all. On AMD, I did not catch the full bottom. I went in some drawdown. You feel me? I was buying around here, right? And but we dipped some more. So I'm just right at break even on AMD. But I believe in the company, its financials, whatever. And you see, even here we bouncing out of a weekly zone. You see, so never let people thinking like, oh, it's red and stuff. Yes, people got some control to some extent. But it come down to basic human psychology. And these charts and these candlesticks represent basic human psychology. Rational and irrational behavior, right? That's all that it is. If you can find out what invisible force moves the price, and you find out how to identify those places on the chart, you straight. You can always put yourself in the probabilities of winning. Let's look at NVIDIA. Another look, if I go to the daily, look. So not only on just on the index fund, which I was telling you, that's how we gauge the overall behavior of the markets, but even on individual stocks, we got higher lows being put in, right? That's a higher low. Remember, the previous low is down here. So this is good. This is good signs of continuation, and my account reflects. I mean, I wish I could log in for y'all live. Next time, I'm gonna just have it logged in, and I'm gonna be transparent with you. I'm gonna show you the prices and everything that I got in at, and relative to where they are now. Where I will be looking to add more positions is when we make higher lows. So we pull back one more time, hit a demand zone. Maybe I'll consider buying some option contracts out that expire far out. But I'm happy and satisfied with where I bought these stocks at. You never buy at the top up here, right? That's just rookie, novice trader, novice investor do, right? Never buy up there. A lot of people bought up here, and their first experience was this drawdown. And then eventually, like around here, you can't take enough, but then you start seeing it go up. You like, okay, we got some hope. Then it dropped down. Now you like, man, fuck this stock market. Then you try to get out. People like me, we get in down here, and we ride the wave. Profit. We add places like here. So what I'm talking about, I'm gonna add positions. I'm gonna add places like here. When they come back down, I'm gonna add here. So on and so forth. But I wanted to go over that video, go over this information with you, and just to a reminder of myself. Mind you, this channel is not to reel you in and make you buy something from me. I really don't even have nothing to sell for real. I'm just trying to document the journey of me strengthening my investing skills. And then, one day, just at the very same time, like simultaneously, give out information. Because I know people be asking me questions like, hey, how I do this? How do I do that? And now I created an environment where now you could just watch me and then learn from what I do and how I speak. You might watch one video, it might click. You might watch 10, it might click. So, I'm not gonna stop doing these. I enjoy these. It's like the most authentic way I feel like I can make content too. Just being my raw self, and I'm gonna just get better and better and better. And eventually, you're just gonna see I'm gonna be documenting everything. I guess I could add in what I see now, so in my analysis. So, yes, there is some demand zones being put in, or got put in after yesterday's rally, and that's good because once they pull back into those demand imbalances, just like how I took advantage of it pulling back into these weekly and monthly zones, do the same thing for daily. But so now you got to be in a position for a short amount of time. See what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do a video specifically on those day trades, if and when I take them. But bullish pin bar. All of my positions looking good right now. It's because I bought the bottom. So yes, disregard what people be talking about. The president or whatever, man. Look at the charts. Understand human psychology. Understand supply and demand, and just stick with your strategy. And mind you, I don't even use no indicators in that. I'm not looking for no golden cross, no EMA, MA. I'm not looking for none of that. I'm looking for supply and demand. That's it.